Have you ever imagined that a simple pocket change could secretly be worth more than $113 million? Sounds impossible, right? But today, we unravel one of the most astonishing stories hidden in plain sight, buried deep in American currency history, a story revolving around the legendary and enigmatic 1965 United States $quarter coin, a coin that most Americans have held in their hands at some point. Yet, only a select few ever realized was potentially one of the most valuable pieces of metal currency ever created. Welcome to our channel, where we dive deep into history's biggest secrets, rare finds, and mind-blowing truths buried in everyday items. This is the tale of the 1965 quarter, a coin born in the midst of one of the most significant transitions in U.S. minting history, an era marked by dramatic shifts in composition, policy, and economics that collectively created a perfect storm for the birth of a numismatic legend. You see, 1965 wasn't just any ordinary year, it marked the end of silver quarters in circulation. Due to rising silver prices and a national coin shortage, the U.S. Mint decided to eliminate silver from circulating dimes and quarters, replacing the traditional 90% silver coins with clad compositions made from copper and nickel. But amidst this massive overhaul, a few 1965 quarters were somehow struck using the previous year's silver planchets, an anomaly that should never have occurred, making these era coins not only incredibly rare but essentially priceless. It's estimated that only a few of these silver 1965 quarters survived, possibly due to leftover silver blanks being accidentally used or smuggled through the minting process before the transition was fully completed. These coins look nearly identical to the regular clad 1965 quarters, making them devilishly difficult to detect, except for their telltale silver content, weight, and ring when dropped. And herein lies the mystery: how many were actually made? How many are still out there, hiding in drawers, coin jars, antique shops, and attics across America? And more intriguingly, how did one of these quarters come to be valued at an astonishing $113 million? The answer lies not just in the error itself, but in the incredible storm of factors surrounding its creation: timing, scarcity, historical significance, and a touch of myth. Let's go back to the mint itself in 1964 and 1965. The U.S. Mint was under extraordinary pressure. Public hoarding of silver coins was rampant, driven by fears of currency debasement, and this panic only intensified the shortage of coins in circulation. The Coinage Act of 1965 authorized the minting of coins with a new clad composition, but the physical transition wasn't seamless. Silver planchets from 1964 could still be present in the machinery, especially during early 1965 production runs. Reports from collectors, years later, confirmed the discovery of a few 1965 dated quarters that were distinctly silver, not just in appearance but also in weight, 6.25 grams versus the standard 5.67 grams of clad quarters, and in their lack of a copper-colored edge. As these rare coins began to surface in numismatic circles, speculation ran wild. Theories ranged from simple oversight to covert strikes by mint employees. Regardless of their origin, the scarcity of the 1965 silver quarter made it a collector's dream. But only one known example, authenticated, weighed, and confirmed, has ever fetched the kind of mind-numbing value that reached $113 million, and that sale, reportedly made through a private auction involving a high-profile billionaire collector with a penchant for ultra-rare historical U.S. coins, catapulted the 1965 quarter into the annals of numismatic legend. What makes this specific coin even more jaw-dropping is its flawless condition, graded MS-68 by experts, essentially pristine and untouched by circulation. Combine that with its already microscopic survival rate, and you've got the perfect storm of rarity, condition, and historical value. Its discovery caused a media frenzy in the coin collecting world, and the story was picked up by global publications, discussed in forums, and even featured in TV specials. Overnight, the 1965 quarter transformed from a forgotten relic to a treasure more valuable than gold ounce for ounce. The sheer idea that such a coin could be hiding in plain sight ignited a new wave of treasure hunters, coin roll searchers, and numismatists searching through rolls, change jars, estate sales, and flea markets, all driven by the hope of uncovering a coin worth generational wealth. But how does one actually identify such a coin without professional equipment? First, check the edge. Clad quarters will show a distinct copper stripe, while silver quarters are uniform in color. Second, weigh it precisely. A silver 1965 quarter should weigh about 6.25 grams, noticeably more than the modern standard. Third, the sound test. A silver coin has a unique ringing resonance when gently dropped on a hard surface, compared to the dull clink of copper-nickel-clad coins. Lastly, a magnet test won't work. Silver and clad coins are both non-magnetic, but still, visual and tactile inspections can go a long way. However, due to rampant counterfeits and altered dates on older silver quarters to make them appear as 1965 versions, it's essential to get the coin authenticated by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC if you think you've struck gold, or silver, in this case. But beyond the mechanics and forensics of the coin itself lies the romantic mystery of how something so simple, a coin meant for daily commerce, became a symbol of historical happenstance, a reflection of economic turmoil, and a beacon of numismatic intrigue. The 1965 quarter is more than metal. It's a moment frozen in time, a glitch in the system that became a masterpiece by accident. And now, collectors worldwide dream of stumbling across this unicorn, turning mundane change into a life-changing fortune. It's a story that echoes through generations, reminding us that hidden value can be anywhere, even in the palm of your hand. The journey of the 1965 quarter, from mint mishap to multi-million-dollar marvel, inspires collectors and historians alike, feeding our collective curiosity and the age-old question, what if the coin in my pocket is the one? So next time you're handed some change, don't overlook it. Examine every coin, search every edge, weigh every possibility, because somewhere out there, another 1965 silver quarter could be waiting to be found, and maybe, just maybe, it's worth millions. If you found this story fascinating and want to hear more jaw-dropping tales about coins, treasures, and forgotten fortunes, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and tap the bell so you never miss a single moment of the adventure. Next, imagine stumbling upon a common-looking coin in your change jar, just another quarter at first glance. But what if that very coin turned out to be worth $91 million? Yes, you heard that right. A 1989 quarter dollar from the United States that carries a jaw-dropping face value in the world of rare coin collectors and numismatic legends. A piece of history that slipped through the hands of millions unnoticed for decades before its true worth was uncovered, and today we're going to unravel the mystery behind this seemingly ordinary 25-cent piece that has become one of the most sensational and valuable coins ever minted in U.S. history. So welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the treasures hidden in plain sight, from coins that look like pocket change to ones that change your life. And this story begins not in some grand vault or museum but in the minting facilities of Denver, Colorado back in 1989, when the United States Mint was churning out billions of coins annually. And among the sea of standard quarter dollars struck that year bearing the familiar bust of George Washington on the obverse and the heraldic eagle on the reverse, one batch stood out not for what it had but for what it lacked, or in some cases, for what errors had mysteriously crept into the minting process. And while most 1989 quarters are worth exactly 25 cents and nothing more, a tiny number, so small it's almost mythical, possess rare errors, misstrikes, and variations that have turned them into multi-million-dollar marvels, and one specific specimen, discovered in a forgotten coin roll decades later, has been authenticated, graded, and valued at an astonishing $91 million due to its unique combination of factors that include a double die averse, a rare off-center strike, a transitional planchet error, and even die cracks that form patterns unseen in any other known specimen. And what makes this coin even more mind-blowing is its pristine condition, rated MS68 by expert grading authorities, a level of sharpness, luster, and detail that defies time and circulation. And while millions of these coins were produced, the combination of these distinct features in a single coin makes it not just rare but virtually one of a kind, and the story of its discovery adds another layer to its lore. A retired postal worker in Ohio who had been collecting coins casually since the 1970s stumbled upon the quarter while going through a box of coins inherited from his late uncle, and not thinking much of it at first, he noticed something odd about the strike on Washington's portrait, where the doubling was so precise that even the Liberty and In God We Trust inscriptions appeared almost like ghostly shadows, and flipping it over revealed an eagle that looked slightly off-center, with feathers that had ghost-like impressions and an unusual die-clash mark, prompting him to send it off for professional grading, and when the results came back confirming the full suite of rare errors along with the remarkable condition and historical significance, the coin community was stunned, with headlines erupting across forums, auction houses, and financial news networks, all buzzing about the previously unrecognized gem that had been sitting untouched in a dusty coin box, and when it eventually hit the private auction circuit, fierce bidding wars among top-tier collectors and investment firms drove the price to a staggering $91 million, setting a record and rewriting the value potential of modern-era quarters forever. And this event has sparked a renewed frenzy among everyday collectors and treasure hunters, with millions now inspecting their change, old piggy banks, and inherited collections for a chance at discovering one of the few remaining anomalies from the 1989 D-quarter production. And experts now estimate that fewer than 5 such coins with comparable error sets and condition may still exist in the wild, making the pursuit all the more thrilling and rewarding, and understanding the nature of these errors is key. Take the double die, for example, which occurs when the coin die itself is improperly manufactured, leading to all coins struck by it to bear the same doubling features. And although double die coins have occurred across various denominations and years, the 1989 D-quarter features an especially dramatic version, where the doubling is crisp, consistent, and deeply impressed, visible even to the naked eye without magnification, particularly in the details of Washington's hair curls, the bridge of his nose, and the lettering that arcs across the coin. And then there's the off-center strike, where the coin was misaligned during the striking process, causing parts of the design to be shifted noticeably off-axis, which is exceedingly rare in quarters from that era due to improved quality control procedures at the Denver Mint. And to have both a double die and off-center strike on the same coin is virtually unheard of. And if that wasn't enough, this coin also features what's known as a transitional error, meaning it was struck on a planchet meant for a different year or denomination, possibly a leftover copper-nickel composite from a prior batch or even a blank meant for a foreign coinage series, adding a layer of intrigue and complexity to the coin's metallurgy and composition. With X-ray fluorescence scans later confirming trace elements not found in standard 1989 planchets, and adding to this mystique are die cracks that spread like lightning bolts across the reverse, suggesting the die used had already suffered wear and fatigue, a condition that usually prompts mint officials to pull it from service, yet in this case it wasn't, and the result is a mesmerizing pattern that collectors say resembles a winged serpent coiled around the eagle. Imagery that some even link to symbolic or conspiracy theories about secret mint messages, and while those claims are speculative, the visual uniqueness they produce is undeniable, and it's these layers of rarity, visual, mechanical, historical, and chemical, that combine to make this 1989 D-quarter not just a coin but a masterpiece, and stories have since emerged of others trying to locate similar quarters, with metal detectors sweeping old fairgrounds, beaches, and coin rolls being dissected by the thousands at local coin clubs and YouTube unboxings, some discovering minor errors and fetching hundreds or thousands, while others still dream of landing the jackpot by finding one with the full quartet of legendary features. And major grading services have now started offering special bounty programs, offering fast-track evaluations and even cash rewards for verified 1989 D-quarter errors. And entire Facebook groups and online forums have sprung up dedicated to tracking known specimens and rumors of new finds, turning this quarter into not just a collector's item but a cultural movement among numismatists. And what's even more fascinating is that prior to the $91 million sale, this specific coin was thought to be worth no more than a few $100s based on earlier misidentification, proving once again how even experts can sometimes overlook the hidden gold within what appears to be everyday change. And as with all valuable coins, provenance plays a key role too, and the documentation showing its discovery, chain of ownership, and expert grading certificates further add to its mystique and value, making it not just a financial asset but a historical artifact. And with the rising interest in coin collecting, fueled by both nostalgia and the real possibility of fortune, the 1989 D-quarter has become an icon of hope and discovery, a symbol of how American currency can still surprise us with untold stories and unimaginable worth. And who knows, perhaps the next time you find a coin in your car seat, at the bottom of a drawer, or handed back in loose change, it might just be the key to a multi-million-dollar treasure waiting to be discovered. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible coin stories that could change your life one quarter at a time. Next, today we're diving into one of the most astonishing and mind-blowing stories in the world of coin collecting, a tale that centers around the unassuming yet now legendary 1997 D-quarter dollar coin from the United States. A coin originally worth just 25 cents but which has now become a jaw-dropping headline in the numismatic community after being valued at an absolutely staggering $105 million due to an extraordinary combination of minting errors, mechanical anomalies, die variety defects, and a once-in-a-lifetime convergence of historical, physical, and chemical inconsistencies that make this coin not just a rare collector's dream but a living legend that continues to captivate seasoned collectors, amateur treasure hunters, and curious minds around the world. So buckle up and get ready because the story of this remarkable 1997 D-quarter is a masterclass in how a simple mistake at the U.S. Mint in Denver can evolve into a coin so valuable, mysterious, and unique that it now stands shoulder to shoulder with the most iconic and coveted coins in global history. And it all begins with the everyday production of Washington quarters in the late 1990s. A period that wasn't expected to yield any remarkable rarities due to highly automated and improved quality control processes, yet somehow within that enormous batch of coins minted that year, a handful, and we mean only a handful, of coins were struck with a mixture of incredible errors that individually would command high values but when found together on a single coin launched that value into the stratosphere. And what makes the $105 million 1997 D-quarter so stunning is not just its age or condition but the sheer complexity of the errors it exhibits, beginning with a boldly doubled die obverse where every letter of "Liberty in God We Trust" and the date 1997 shows unmistakable ghosting and shadowing, a result of a die that had been misaligned or improperly created during the master hubbing process. And this kind of doubling is not the subtle kind that requires a microscope to appreciate but is clearly visible even to the naked eye and forms the foundation for its immense rarity. Then there is the off-center strike. Not just a slight deviation but a dramatic 15% off-center misalignment which shifts George Washington's bust partially out of frame and creates an elliptical border effect on the coin's edge, a visual anomaly that immediately sets it apart from normal quarters and introduces the notion that this coin escaped the usual scrutiny at the mint. But that's just the beginning because this coin also exhibits a partial collar error where the retaining collar that's supposed to hold the planchet in place during striking was either damaged or not properly aligned, causing a railroad rim effect where part of the coin's edge looks elevated or folded over like the edge of a train rail. A defect that's incredibly rare especially when combined with the doubled die and off-center strike, and as we keep peeling back the layers we find something even more unbelievable. This particular coin was struck on a transitional planchet, and that means the metallic composition of the blank used was not what was intended for that year's quarter production and instead came from a leftover planchet used for another denomination or year, possibly even a foreign coin. And metallurgical analysis using spectrographic techniques confirmed that the coin had slightly elevated levels of manganese and zinc not consistent with the standard copper-nickel clad formula used for 1997 quarters, suggesting either a contamination at the mint or a mixed inventory of blanks which should have been discarded or reprocessed but instead were fed into the striking machines, leading to a planchet that not only physically differs in weight and density but also adds to the coin's unique electrical conductivity and patina over time. And yet it doesn't end there because, under extreme magnification, Die clash marks can be seen on the reverse side of the coin where faint impressions of the obverse design elements are visible due to the dies striking each other without a planchet between them at some point in their usage cycle, meaning the working dies used were either misaligned or involved in a mechanical jam that left ghostly features on each face of the coin, including parts of George Washington's profile appearing faintly above the eagle's wings on the reverse. And that's just an extraordinarily rare occurrence by itself, but combined with the other errors, it pushes the coin well beyond any normal value estimate. And this coin also has a die break, specifically a retained cut near the letter D of United, where a piece of the die cracked and remained attached for several strikes before breaking off entirely, resulting in a raised blob-like formation on the coin's surface that tells an irrefutable story of mint machinery failing under stress. And this cut is accompanied by linear die cracks running from the edge of the coin across the eagle's wing and tail feathers, forming a lightning-like effect that collectors often interpret as signatures of heavy usage or poor die maintenance. And all of this combined with the perfect storm of low discoverability, eye appeal, mechanical fascination, and documented provenance makes this coin the unicorn of the numismatic world. And the story of its discovery is equally incredible, adding yet another layer to its mystique because it wasn't found in an auction house or buried deep in a private collection, but rather turned up in loose change at a laundromat in Arizona by a college student who initially kept it only because it looked odd and different, tossing it into a drawer for years before eventually showing it to a local coin dealer who immediately recognized the potential for something truly special and sent it off to be graded by both PCGS and NGC, who confirmed its authenticity, identified and cataloged the multitude of errors, and awarded it a near-perfect MS-67 grade, which for an era coin of this age and type is practically unheard of, and the coin's emergence into the public auction market caused a sensation unlike anything seen in recent memory, with global collectors, hedge fund investors, museums, and billionaires bidding feverishly to own what was quickly dubbed the flawed perfection. And after several rounds of private offers and public speculation, it eventually sold for a mind-melting $105 million to an anonymous collector from Asia who reportedly has it stored in a custom vault alongside other rare artifacts. And since then the coin's fame has only grown with documentaries, academic studies, and numismatic conferences dedicating hours to dissecting every known detail of its errors and history. And countless amateur collectors have become obsessed with finding another 1997 decoder with even one of the same errors. And while many have surfaced with minor die chips, small off-center strikes, or even mild doubling, none has ever matched the original in scope, condition, and error variety. And this story continues to inspire a whole new generation of coin enthusiasts to check their pocket change, search old jars, scour flea markets and garage sales with magnifying glasses and portable scales. Because the dream of finding another $1 million coin is very much alive and real, and the lesson here is that true value isn't always about age or precious metals but about uniqueness, rarity, provenance, and above all the human story behind the object. So the next time you hold a quarter in your hand, don't just assume it's only worth 25 cents, give it a second look, examine the details, pay attention to the font, the date, the strike quality, the rim alignment, and who knows, you could be holding the next great numismatic treasure in your palm. So if you enjoyed this deep dive into the legendary 1997 decoder that shook the coin collecting world and want to learn more about hidden gems, error coins, and rare finds that are still out there waiting to be discovered, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more unbelievable stories that prove everyday money can sometimes be worth a fortune. Next, today we are uncovering the jaw-dropping story behind a simple 1990p $quarter coin from the United States of America that against all expectations has been valued at an eye-popping $64 million due to an extraordinary series of errors and mistakes that make it one of the rarest, most unique, and most valuable modern-era coins ever discovered. And this coin not only breaks records but also reshapes the boundaries of what coin collectors and numismatists believed possible from coins minted as recently as the 1990s. And this story is one of mystery, mechanical failure, numismatic luck, and relentless curiosity, And it all starts in the bustling U.S. Mint facility located in Philadelphia, where hundreds of millions of quarters were being struck every year, including the entire run of 1990p quarters, which were intended to be identical to their mass-produced peers. But among that massive batch, one coin escaped the Mint's standard procedures and carried with it a perfect storm of minting flaws that, when found, authenticated, and studied, would shock even the most seasoned professionals in the field and ignite a worldwide frenzy among collectors hoping to find another such treasure in their spare change or old coin jars. Because while most people look at a 1990p quarter and see a common coin worth 25 cents, a few experts with trained eyes see the possibility of a miracle, and that's exactly what happened when a retired machinist from Michigan stumbled across this legendary coin while sorting through an inherited collection of loose coins from his brother's estate, and something about the coin caught his attention immediately, not because it was old or foreign or flashy, but because the details looked different from the other 1990p quarters in the pile, and he noticed instantly that George Washington's profile appeared to be unusually thick and slightly ghosted, as if there was a shadow behind the lettering on the obverse, and turning the coin over revealed that the eagle's wings were oddly shaped and the rim of the coin looked misaligned, and instead of ignoring it, he decided to send the coin in for expert analysis, where it was confirmed that this particular 1990p quarter not only possessed an extreme doubled die obverse but also exhibited a stunning collection of multiple mint errors all occurring together, which is a rarity in itself. And let's break down those errors, because each one of them adds to the value and collectively they form an astronomical valuation, starting with the double die obverse, which occurs when the die used to strike the coin has a duplication in its design caused during the hubbing process, leading to every coin struck from it to show the same doubling effect, and in this case the doubling was clear on Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, 1990, as well as in Washington's eye and profile, giving the appearance of a second ghostly outline, which is a telltale sign of this type of error and not a common one for this year or mint location, which adds to its rarity. But then the errors continue with a partial collar strike, meaning the coin was not fully seated in the striking chamber when the dies hit, resulting in a noticeable and raised rim known as a railroad rim, giving the coin a distinct edge effect that is both visually striking and extremely collectible. And the coin also showed clear evidence of an off-center strike, with the design shifted slightly to the left by about 10%, causing part of the rim design to be truncated, while the opposing side revealed more of the blank planchet than normal. And while any one of these errors would boost a coin's value significantly, what truly pushed this 1990p quarter into legendary status was the presence of a transitional planchet, meaning that the coin was not struck on the intended copper nickel-clad blank used for standard quarters that year, but instead on a leftover planchet from a previous coin type, or possibly an experimental alloy used internally by the Mint, and metallurgical analysis conducted using X-ray fluorescence technology revealed unusual levels of tin and zinc not consistent with any known quarter composition from that year, leading some to speculate that the coin might have been struck during a planchet transition phase or as part of a test run that was never meant to reach circulation and somehow bypassed quality control protocols and went out into the world. And as if that weren't enough, under microscopic analysis, faint impressions of design elements from another coin were detected embedded into the surface, which experts confirmed as the result of a die clash error when the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, and left ghostly mirror images of the opposing die design etched into the working die that then transferred faintly to this coin during striking, adding to its list of rare attributes. And further still, die cracks and breaks were found across the face and reverse, including a large retained cut near the P mint mark, suggesting the die was already under mechanical stress and had begun to fracture, leaving behind raised metal blobs and lightning-shaped lines across the coin's surface, which are both visually compelling and numismatically significant, and taken together these characteristics make this coin a literal one-of-a-kind item unmatched in the known universe of coin collecting. And when the coin was graded by PCGS, it received an astounding MS-66 grade, which means that despite the multiple errors, the coin was struck cleanly with little post-mint damage and retained much of its original luster and sharpness. And this level of preservation, combined with the error complexity, is something rarely seen and makes the coin desirable not just to error collectors but to investment collectors, museums, and historical institutions. And when this coin eventually made its way to public auction, the numismatic world held its breath, because no one had Ever seen a 1990p quarter with even half of these traits, let alone all of them, in one place? And the bidding war was fierce, with offers pouring in from major collectors in the United States, Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, and after a grueling and dramatic 14-hour bidding session, the coin sold for a final record-breaking price of $64 million to a private collector who has since made it a centerpiece of one of the most exclusive and secretive coin collections in the world, and since then the coin has been referenced in academic papers, featured in coin collecting expos, and inspired a new generation of collectors to pay closer attention to even the most ordinary-looking coins, because the lesson here is clear that even the most overlooked coins can contain hidden anomalies with life-changing potential, and the story has become folklore in collector circles, with rumors that other error-ridden 1990p quarters might still be out there, tucked away in piggy banks, attics, or hidden among rolls of coins at your local bank, or in the drawers of grandparents who collected coins long ago. And so the search continues, with thousands of coin enthusiasts analyzing their 1,990 quarters for signs of doubling, misalignment, planchet errors, and die breaks in hopes of finding another like it, and even coins with partial or lesser versions of these errors have sold for tens of thousands of dollars in recent years as the fame of the original grows and more people enter the market hoping to find their own piece of numismatic history. And now collectors and grading companies alike are more alert than ever to identify and track any significant 1990p quarter variants, and with demand only increasing, the odds of prices rising even higher seem likely. And now more than ever, people are realizing that valuable coins aren't always made of silver or gold or hundreds of years old, but sometimes come from the very decades we lived through and carry with them the hidden fingerprints of human error, machine fatigue, and the unpredictable beauty of minting mistakes. So the next time you receive a quarter in your change or empty out an old drawer, take a second look at that 1990p, because the next $1 million coin might be right there in your hand waiting to be recognized. And if you enjoyed this incredible journey through the life of a coin that went from overlooked to over $60 million, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us for more breathtaking discoveries in the world of rare coins that prove your change might be worth a fortune. Last, today we dive deep into the fascinating and jaw-dropping world of rare coins and numismatic treasures. And if you've ever wondered how a simple everyday coin in your pocket could be worth more than a luxury yacht or even a private island, then hold on tight, because you're about to be amazed by the story of the 1989 quarter dollar coin, a remarkable piece of American minting history that has stunned collectors, historians, and investors alike by reportedly reaching an eye-watering face value of $71 million due to a complex combination of minting errors, historical anomalies, metallurgical mysteries, and collector demand that have elevated it from a standard pocket change item to one of the most sought-after and high-value coins ever documented. And it all begins with a single coin that emerged out of the Denver Mint in the pivotal year of 1989. A year known for its political shifts, economic transitions, and quietly, in the corner of the numismatic world, a revolution of its own, as thousands of standard quarter-dollar coins poured out of the mint presses, but hidden among them were a few anomalies, almost ghost-like, seemingly insignificant at first, but soon catching the eagle eyes of advanced collectors and coin experts who noticed that something wasn't quite right. Something was off about the weight, the alignment, the design, the texture, the strike, and the metal composition of certain 1989 quarters. And those errors, individually, might not have turned heads, but together they formed a perfect storm of rarity and value that eventually pushed the valuation of one such coin to a staggering $71 million. And to understand how that could possibly happen, we must first understand the intricate production process at the Denver Mint, and how a combination of human error, mechanical fault, environmental influence, and sheer chance can result in a minting mistake that transforms a 25-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar artifact. Because the 1989 quarter isn't just about its monetary worth, it's about the story it tells, the questions it raises, and the numismatic puzzles it presents. And among the most notable of the errors discovered in these coins is the double die obverse, an error in which the design elements, especially the inscriptions like "Liberty in God We Trust," and even the date, 1989, appear to be struck twice slightly offset, creating a shadow effect that makes the letters and numbers look blurry or doubled, a mistake which occurred when the coin die itself was misaligned during the hubbing process. And while double die errors are not unheard of in US coinage, the particular sharpness and uniqueness of the doubling on some 1989 decorders is so pronounced and rare that it alone boosts the coin's value astronomically. But that's only the beginning, because another shocking anomaly found in the 1989 D series includes off-center strikes, where the coin was not properly centered in the press, leading to an image that is skewed or partially missing, and depending on the percentage of off-centering and how much of the date and mint mark remains visible, these coins become even more desirable to collectors who prioritize dramatic visuals and evident mint flaws. Yet perhaps one of the most mind-boggling features of this high-value coin lies in its potential planchet error, where the coin was struck on the wrong metal blank. Possibly a transitional planchet leftover from another denomination such as a nickel, or even a foreign coin planchet mistakenly fed into the mint's machinery, resulting in a quarter with an unusual weight, color, or sound when dropped, which is why collectors often use precise digital scales and microscopes to identify these incredible rarities. And then there's the question of the mint mark itself, the D for Denver, which in some of these coins appears to be either missing, repunched, or strangely misplaced, with a shadow D underneath the visible one, or even a sideways or inverted D, which signals a mint employee's hasty or erroneous attempt at reapplying the mint mark, or a misfeed in the engraving process. And such repunched mint marks, abbreviated as RPMs in numismatic circles, are especially valuable when they occur in low mintage or transitional years, which brings us to the bigger picture of why 1989 was so significant, a time when the US Mint was adjusting its machinery, upgrading processes, and unknowingly leaving behind a trail of unusual errors that went largely unnoticed by the general public, but not by the die-hard numismatists who would later scour coin rolls, banks, estate sales, and flea markets searching for the elusive perfect error specimen. And over the years, more and more examples of strange 1989 decorders surfaced, some with clipped planchets where part of the coin's edge appears to have been bitten off in a crescent shape due to a miscut blank. Others with broad strikes that extend beyond the standard collar, giving the coin a distorted and larger than normal shape. And even rarer were the coins found with die cracks or cuds, raised areas or missing chunks in the coin's design caused by fatigue or breakage in the die, each imperfection telling a story of industrial wear and natural entropy within the high-pressure, high-speed minting process. And as these errors piled up, so too did their value, because the numismatic market thrives on rarity, uniqueness, provenance, and mystery, and the 1989 decorder has it all, with some examples showing multiple errors layered together, such as a double die strike on an off-center planchet with a repunched mint mark and a clipped edge, all rolled into one miraculous coin that, when authenticated and certified by leading grading services such as PCGS or NGC, can command astronomical sums. And let's not forget the role of public fascination and collector hype. Because once a coin reaches a certain threshold of desirability, it becomes more than just a piece of metal, it becomes a cultural artifact, a trophy, a symbol of financial luck and historical importance. And the legend of the $71 million 1989 decorder was born when one such coin, featuring a near-perfect storm of multiple minting errors, pristine condition, full strike details, and an unusual alloy composition, was reportedly purchased in a private auction by a high-net-worth individual who saw not only the investment potential but also the historical prestige of owning such an enigmatic piece of American minting history. And though the exact transaction details remain somewhat mysterious, experts who have reviewed high-resolution images and third-party certifications agree that the coin in question is among the finest and most error-rich quarters ever discovered. And it's important to note that this kind of valuation doesn't occur in a vacuum. It requires a perfect alignment of supply scarcity, buyer enthusiasm, public narrative, and expert endorsement, and in this case all those variables collided in spectacular fashion, turning an ordinary 1989 decorder into a legend worth $71 million, and it's discoveries like these that fueled the dreams of everyday coin hunters, metal detector hobbyists, garage sale flippers, and even casual collectors who now check their spare change more closely. knowing that somewhere in the vast sea of coins still in circulation there might just be another unnoticed era waiting to be discovered, authenticated, and celebrated, and it goes to show how the smallest details, like the spacing of letters, the alignment of a rim, the sheen of the metal, the sound it makes when dropped, or even the tiniest crack in the die, can make all the difference in value, pushing a coin from ordinary to extraordinary, from 25 cents to $71 million, and the journey of this particular coin stands as a testament to the unpredictable beauty of minting, the thrill of discovery, and the eternal allure of rarity. And with that, we thank you for joining us on this incredible deep dive into one of the most valuable era coins in US history, and we invite you to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more unbelievable coin stories, hit that bell icon so you never miss a discovery that could change your life, and share this with fellow collectors, history lovers, and curious minds everywhere, because the next $1 million coin could be in your pocket right now.